All right, welcome back to All Cars, y'all. My name is John. It is time for another Motorweek retro review reaction. This week it is the 1989 Isuzu I Mark. Now, I feel like I have gone on and on about American cars recently, so I thought I'd change it up, and being a fan of junky Japanese small cars, this one popped up and I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it first. And I will talk about this more as we get into it. I increasingly find myself missing Isuzu. And so, as always, grab that beverage of choice. This afternoon, we've just got some water in there. Make yourself comfortable. You and I are going to sit back next to a roaring fire and just reminisce about the iMark RS.
Week 89, television's automotive magazine, with your host, John Davis.
Hello and welcome to Motorweek 89. We're glad to have you with us. We realize not everyone understands what we're talking about when we get into technical features. So anytime we introduce a new car, we agonize over how much to tell you about it. But sometimes it's the technical feature that makes the car interesting, and then it's pretty hard not to talk tech. Here's an example, the Isuzu I Mark RS. It looks about like any other iMark, but it has a 16-valve double overhead cam engine. And with saying that, we just lost a few of you. But if you don't remember or don't care what 16-valve means, it really doesn't matter. Just remember the result of that hardware, power. That's what makes this iMark different.
Okay, before they go on, Isuzu, I'm going to reflect here real quick. I've done a few reaction videos. I've talked about Isuzu a few times on the channel, and I respect the reliability. I always have. Their styling always left something to be desired. It always looked a little unfinished, a little cheaper. They were always, to me, a little bit noisier inside, a little cruder, a little lower quality materials, and the interiors were never really quite designed as well as other things out there. And it could be said they built for other markets that were, let's say, less affluent than us, and then just brought it here. But you compare an Isuzu, a Toyota, a Honda, a Nissan of the time, and the Isuzu always just felt a little cheaper and a little cruder. I think that's both fair and unfair, but looking back on them, I find that I miss them in the marketplace. And I'll talk more about that at the end, but just looking at the styling here real quick, I think this is a handsome little car. I mean, it is a little box, vaguely looks a little bit like a Hyundai Excel, but a little nicer. I don't know, there's a little bit of some back over the rear quarter panels there. Little European to me, just a touch, maybe just a touch of some Dodge shadow in the angle on the hood. It's okay. I mean, it's not going to win any awards for beauty, but I think it's a handsome little car, which I think we really miss today. You know, a car that's cheap, but it's just car. And this one has a sunroof. I think it's pretty handsome. Let's see what else they say.
You won't find a standard iMark capable of skipping from 0 to 60 in only 8.4 seconds, or finishing the quarter mile in 16.9 seconds at 82 miles per hour. That's because this iMark, the RS, has something that no iMark before it has featured. A 1.6-liter, 16-valve, dual overhead cam engine, the most advanced power plant to ever live in Isuzu's smallest car. This robust little four-cylinder pumps out 125 horsepower without the aid of the turbocharger that many other hot hatchbacks depend on for their go-fast power. The result is a strong launch off the line and a steady pull through all gears. Front drive torque steer in first gear is accepted as standard for this kind of car, but we were surprised to find it in second and even occasionally third gear. This is one potent little engine. It's mated to a slick 5-speed...
Before they go on, I don't know when they're going to get to the handling or not. Again, I say this about the Motorweek videos. I wish they would drop in information comparing it, like 125 horsepower. What was that? How does that compare to something else? You know, the Integra. Pretty impressive overall. Again, I kind of have a solid opinion of Isuzu engines. And in a car this small, those results are really good. I love the hatchback. It does not have 4 doors, which at the time and for a long time was a requirement for me. But right now, this thing looks a lot better than, say, a Dodge Colt, or even the what the Plymouth Horizon was still being sold. This looks cool. This looks cool with really, really peppy performance. Kind of impressive.
Manual transmission that makes good use of the available power. A powerful engine requires a serious suspension. The iMark RS has been tuned by British sports car builder Lotus to maximize the car's fun-to-drive potential. Mild front plow gradually gives way to rear-wheel drift. You can actually point the RS with the throttle. Transitions are very smooth. The RS never surprises you with a sudden burst of bad manners. And the sticky Bridgestone RE88 tires deliver tons of grip, even when pushed to the limit. The power rack and pinion steering is quick, less than 3 turns lock to lock. It delivers plenty of feedback, so you always know what the car is doing. Ride quality is good for a stiffly sprung car that emphasizes handling, but interior volume is a fairly loud 70 decibels, mostly due to tire and suspension noise.
Okay, a lot to unpack there real quick. I knew Isuzu and Lotus engineering worked together. I did not know they had done this in their littlest vehicle. That's pretty cool. Looks like a lot of body roll, but it just kind of hung on, didn't it? Like a little terrier. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I don't like the plastic boot around the gear shifter. Those always just look cheap, but let's think about what the class is of the car, right? And that spoiler, that Mercure visions in my head, that spoiler's just kind of ridiculous, but what a cool car. I wish they'd give it some comparisons, right? Of the performance times. I mean, how does this compare to, again, an Integra or a GTI of the time? Really, this car does it for me, guys. This is just a nerdy, stupid, trashy throwaway hot hatch. I love it.
Fuel mileage also fares poorly. The EPA rates the iMark RS at 24 city, 32 highway. We couldn't beat 24 miles per gallon on our mixed test loop. The RS stops as well as it goes, with front disc and rear drums that bring the car down from 60 miles per hour in an average distance of 115 feet. Pedal feel is excellent and fade non-existent. Stability is also exceptional. Stops were always smooth and straight. With such potent mechanicals, Isuzu decided that the iMark RS's outside should be equally exciting, so the car gets a full set of plastic boy racer add-ons. From the deep chin spoiler to the racy rear wing, this is clearly the performance model of the iMark range. Even the wheels are special, 14-inch alloys with body color accents. Unlike
and 4 lug nuts. Okay, that's kind of cute. You know, that I want to go back to that 70 decibels interior. That kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning, that Isuzu's always came across as slightly cruder than some of their Japanese competitors. And that's a good example. Again, it would be nice to know how they rated, say, the Integra or a Golf, or, you know, I don't know, something from Toyota, and how this ranks relative to them. But that's on the high side. That's on the high side. And if you were on the interstate, that would get old really fast, I think. Hopefully it has a good radio.
Like many of these so-called aero packages, this one is very well fitted. It's made of a heavier, more durable plastic than many competitors' add-ons. The RS's interior can be similarly upgraded with an optional seat and trim package that includes a leather-wrapped steering wheel. That wheel provides a good grip, but hides much of the already confusing gauge cluster. The curved bar gauges may save space, but they're a lot harder to read than conventional round gauges. But the highlight of this upgrade package is a set of Recaro buckets. They offer exceptional support and a rock-solid driving position. They are, however, rock hard. If you like a bit more padding, the standard sports seats may be more to your liking. The Recaro package also includes a removable tilt-up sunroof. The rest of the dash is stock iMark. Material quality is high and all controls are large and well marked. The exception is the optional cassette stereo. It's a very nice unit, but it's buried so far down on the dash that you can't easily operate it while driving. The heat and ventilation controls are better, well designed, well marked, and easy to reach. The rear seat offers better than average room for an econo box, though 6-footers will still be a bit cramped. A 50-50 split seat back allows you to carry both large loads and a passenger. Even without the split seat, the iMark RS would have plenty of cargo space for such a small car. Liftover is low, but you may have to remove the cargo cover to load larger objects. But what does...
Okay, interior, you know what I'm going to say. Black on black on black. That, I don't know when the iMark was released. I don't research that kind of thing before I watch one of these. I've told you before, I watch these cold. And that feels like an older interior, doesn't it? That feels like an automotive generation earlier interior. They may talk up about the quality of the materials. It looks like a dreary place to sit, and the gauges are okay. I think they could. Everything looks cheaped out, but this is based on a cheap car, right? The little armrest right there just looks stuck onto the door. The sunroof, it just pops out, or you can take it off. Lots of little cheap features like that. But overall, I think it's kind of cool. It's cheap little econo-box interior, and I love it. It just looks like an older generation of ergonomics relative to 1989, especially with that radio being down so low. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with it, I think, for the price point, but I can't say I love it. But as a package...
Does all this cost, you may ask? Less than you might think. The iMark RS starts at only $9,359. Our totally loaded test car came to only $11,289. That's a very reasonable price for this much performance and convenience. And it's price that leads off our list of hits. That's followed by the iMark RS's powerful new twin-cam engine, Lotus-sourced handling, superior brakes, and bold styling. Misses include the poor fuel mileage, loud interior noise level, confusing gauges, and poor stereo position. By comparison, the Suzuki Swift GTI costs less. It's not as quick or stable as the iMark or as well built, but it does offer a longer list of standard features. The original GTI from Volkswagen costs thousands more. It offers better build quality and a more inspiring feel. And while its aging chassis may have some trouble keeping up with the more modern Isuzu, it is a more well-rounded design. But therein lies the iMark RS's charm. It's a specialized car that doesn't try to be everything to everybody. It's fast and inspiring, best suited for the serious driving enthusiast. So forget all that technical talk. The Isuzu iMark RS speaks its own language.
Okay, I guess we're just done. What a frustrating end to it. Interesting comparisons, comparing it to the Swift and to the GTI. And of course, the iMark also was a Chevy or later a Geo Spectrum. And they were fine. Honestly, if somebody told me they were based on a Tercel, I would have believed them. It was an unremarkable car. But here's the deal. When I was younger, in my teenage years and into my 20s, when Isuzu was still here selling cars, and their partnership with GM, of course, there were products I liked of theirs, but they were never something I would choose as my number one. For example, I very much respect the Trooper, but the Grand Cherokee was better. You know, I very much respect the Rodeo, but the Cherokee was better. And the Amigo was super cool. I mean, that just Baywatch vibes right there. I love the Amigo, but I'd rather have a Wrangler. At every single one of their cars, I would have chosen something else. And it wasn't until they were gone, and it was because they always felt just cruder than other things. It's like get in a Suzuki Swift and then compare it to a Tercel. That's the level of difference I always felt between, say, a Honda, a Toyota, and Isuzu. But they weren't bad cars. And again, over the decades, and mechanics might disagree with me, I've got a very high opinion of their durability. Many of these cars are built for more third world usage. And so they tended to be kind of rugged, and the engines tended to be kind of rugged. And I would love to have this car right now. I mean, I alternate between I want a Jeep, I want a truck, I want a luxury car, I want a big 4-door Buick, a 2-door Buick, or a crappy little hatchback. How much fun would something like this be to go drive around and toss around? I admit I would be tempted to stick with the hatchback, but get the base engine, have more comfortable seats, and get better gas mileage out of the whole thing. But I thought this was a nice looking car that handled well. The braking was fantastic, good power, and a value over the GTI. Do I think that if I was a boy racer that I would choose this over a GTI? No, I'm a huge fan of the Golf platform. But this is what we're missing in the world today. You know, we've got the Mirage, but now it's just a little 4-door sedan. We've got the Versa, which is admittedly just a solid good car, but nobody's buying it. I just believe if there was a manufacturer and they're like, hey, here's something boxy, maximize the space again. They've got to meet all the current crash test standards and side impact and all the other stuff out there. But here's a box. I can't get out of my mind that I think people would love it. So I love this vehicle. And hindsight being what it is, the more I look at Isuzus, the more fondly I remember them. And I will probably do another 1 or 2 reaction videos. I think I'll probably do an Impulse, maybe a Stylus along the way. But this was a cool trip down memory lane, and I absolutely love this car. This was an awesome, awesome one. Thanks so much for being here, guys, and taking a little trip with me back to 1989. Have a good one.